The All Progressives Congress, APC, put the speculations of a Muslim-Muslim ticket to rest on Sunday when its presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, announced former Borno State Governor Senator Kashim Shettima as his running mate. The news of Shettima becoming Tinubu's running mate was not well received by different stakeholders around the country. Tinubu's choice is contrary to the advice given by the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, which had earlier warned presidential candidates not to field running mates of the same religion. Also, South-South leader Chief Edwin Clark has lampooned the nomination of Senator Kashim Shettima. According to Clark, with the action of the former Lagos State Governor in appointing a Muslim to run with him, even as a Muslim in a multi-ethnic, multi-religious country with Christianity and Islam as the major religions, he felt very threatened for Nigeria as a country. Joining us on the show this morning as we discuss the ruling party's choice of a Muslim-Muslim ticket ahead of the 2023 election in Nigeria is Abraham Sam AYEDOGBON, Senior Apostolic Leader, Realm of Glory International Churches, and convener, Catalyst for Global Peace and Justice Initiative. Good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Dr. Ruben Abati, for having me.
Thank you, Pastor. We can hear you loud and clear in the studio here. Well, where do you stand in this matter of a Muslim-Muslim ticket as declared by the All Progressives Congress? Some church leaders say it doesn't matter. After all, there are 18 political parties. But the Christian Association of Nigeria and other groups insist that religion is a very major factor in this 2023 general election, and that the right of Christians to be on the ballot at the highest level must be respected by all political parties. Where do you stand?
Well, Dr. Ruben, you just stated categorically the position of the Christian Association of Nigeria, number one, and I also like to add that's the same position of the Pentecostal Fellows of Nigeria, which is an arm, one of the major the 5 arms of the Christian Association of Nigeria. And I'm a Christian, so every Christian and every Christian leader, directly or indirectly, belong to the Christian Association. And if you are of the Pentecostal faith, you belong to the Pentecostal Fellowship. So where they stand is where I stand. You can do otherwise, but much more than that. We're first and foremost human. And I think the fundamental principle that God put in place at creation is the respect for the dignity of every human. I'm human before I belong to any ethnic group, before I belong to any religion, and the fundamental principle of respect for the dignity of every human, which demand equity, fairness, and sensitivity, to the feeling, the right of everyone. I think it's been violated. So it's not just because I'm a Christian or Christian leader or because I'm Pentecostal, my church is Pentecostal, but as a human being, I feel traumatized by all that's been going on. So it's not just a matter of where I stand. I feel really traumatized. And I must say, without flattering, that you guys, your team in the Arise News TV, you've been on top of the situation. I dare say that's part of what have given me some sort of consolation, because I follow every proceeding. You've really engaged the process very robustly, without sentiment, dispassionately. But you can see what is happening, if I may add. I think our politicians are so tactical. They are master of the game of dribbling, the game of manipulation, the game of deception. I believe this whole thing is a tactics, is a strategy to divert attention from the real issues. Because I think before this news broke about the substantial running mates of the presidential candidate of the ruling party, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, we were talking about the identity of the presidential candidate. We're talking about issues of certificate and which school did you attend. And one of my apostolic friends actually said to me, why is Nigerian politics and why is the issue of governance in Nigeria, why is it deteriorating below the level of demons. Because we have a story in Mark chapter 5 where Jesus was casting out some demons, and they say, Jesus, they say, we know you, you are the Son of God. Then in Acts chapter 19, Paul did some exploit, but there are some sons of Sceva that tried to cast out the demon. And demons said, before we respect, before we obey your directive, before you can lead us to come out or not come out, tell us your identity. Who are you? Who are you? Jesus we know, Paul we know. So a friend of mine said, we now have people that want to govern us. We don't know their background. We don't know their school. We don't know their... It's all controversy. But to pull a wool on our face, to divert our attention, they have now played up these politics of identity. They played up this politics of exclusion and all of that. So I think it's just the same old rigmarolling and avoiding the real issue, taking everybody for granted. So it's not just the sensibility of the Christian community that's been insulted. And I dare say, this is like adding salt to the injury. This is trampling the electoral value of the Christian community. This is saying to our face, you're saying to our face, we don't matter, we don't count, you don't give a damn. And when you did all your calculation and all your balancing, you realize it's not only that you have to satisfy a particular region of the country and a particular religion at the expense of fairness and justice. You are saying to us, you are playing it up to say that you regard and respect and adore these people more. How do you want us to feel? You are trampling us. Then we talk. You say we are being sensational. It's pre-modern sentiment and all of that. Who started the whole pre-modern sentiment? Who started the whole sensationalism? It's the same politicians. And we can go further. This whole issue is a question of bad leadership. But we have gone from bad leadership, or maybe we started with lack of visionary leadership, then we graduated to bad leadership. Now there is no leadership. There is no governance. It is the current president of the ruling party that was packaged and sold to us. I have said before, it was almost like forgery that was presented to us. Was packaged and dressed in a garb of Democrat, born-again Democrat, whatever, and say, an ex-general, he will stop insecurity, he will fight corruption. And part of the people that packaged him and sold him to us, 2014, 2015, is the current presidential candidate. And we see all the failure. Blood has been flowing, both the blood of Christian, non-Christian, Muslim, everybody. Blood is soaked together. Nobody is safe. Instead of coming to us, you're sorry. But it's the same presidential, the president and the leader of APC that played this religion, the politics of religion, this politics of identity, this politics of exclusion. Because it started with all his lopsided appointment. This is the first time in history of Nigerian politics that the national electoral chairman, the national chairman of INEC will come from the same region and the same religion with the president. Even under military, it wasn't so. This is the first time you have a situation where the president of the country and the CNC is a Muslim from the north. The Senate leader, the Senate president is a Muslim from the north. The Speaker of the House of Rep is a Muslim. And so everybody is like, if you want to matter under government of APC, you have to put on the toga of Islamic religion. Is that what you are telling us? And you are now saying it doesn't matter what we say and so on. So, Dr. Ruben, Victoria Tundun, MK Abiola, and Rufai, I want to thank you. You have actually tried to placate my heart. I've been deeply hurt. I feel very disappointed. I feel insulted. I thought we're going to be able to, in one way or the other, address issues. What is Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu bringing to the table? We are all Lagosians. We see what he has done and what he has been doing. Yeah, I know. I have spoken to him one-on-one when he was governor. I have respect for him because I was writing for This Day then, and there was an issue of a church that was to be demolished. I felt it was not fair. It was Victory Christian Center of Reverend Nkechi Ilupu Taife. And I wrote in This Day then, and the then governor, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was humble enough to call me and explain issues to me. He said I should come so that we discuss. I said, I don't need to come because I was afraid maybe I would be manipulated. But he explained to me, and they stopped the demolition. So I believe it's somebody that have a listening ear, and so on and so forth. He is married to a Christian that is a pastor. I respect that because that magnanimity and that being a liberal Muslim, I don't know if I can allow my wife to belong to another religion and so on, or even to go to another church, as pastor as I am. So I respect him on many grounds. We've seen leaders have thrown up. But the way, it's not just balancing equation, who will deliver more vote, who is compatible with you. Why are they rubbing this thing on our face as if Christians don't matter? The leg of extremists, religious bigot, have been on our neck as Christians. Our blood is flowing. You guys just finished, you just put aside the Owo massacre, and so on. Catholic priests have been kidnapped. People are seen in captivity. Christian girls have been kidnapped and distributed as booty, as means of motivating the terrorists. Christian girls are seen in captivity. I don't know if they take Muslim girls. All of these horrible things. But who played up religion to the maximum? It is President Muhammad Buhari. Everything rises and falls with leadership. In my village, there's every story you tell, every folklore is on the tortoise head. The president is the tortoise in this matter. His lack of leadership, his lack of balance, his lack of sensitivity to every ethnic group and every religion is what now is taken to high heaven. And what he and Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu were sensitive to and respected in 2015. Why didn't Tinubu run with him there? You said because of the figure, how the figure will come. So, and people should please. The only joy I have is that we are now seeing the greatness of Mepke Abiola. They should stop comparing this thing with 93. We did not have this issue in 93. None of them have the quality and the greatness and the personality that MKO had. So you can't be comparing apple and orange or whatever. You can't be comparing ordinary cocoyam and pounded yam in my place. They can't compare this thing. We've moved far from there. But see the polarization and the trampling of sub-region by our president. And you are now showing us that from a region in the country, you don't have competent people, you don't have intelligent people. Is it all about votes? Where is the place for principle? Where is the place for fairness and justice? I'm not speaking just as a church leader, as a religious leader. I convey catalysts for global peace and justice. But there can be no peace without justice. The other time I was on your program, I was representing custodian of national conscience. As people that represent, custodian of national conscience, we feel that these people are acting as if there is no conscience. So the whole thing is very sickening. It's very provocative. I heard you and Rufai the others, they're saying, what is all this? Before now, the placeholder as running mate to Asiwaju, we also discover that they couldn't fill the school and the certificate he had. And we're now diverting things. And when we now want to do this, we say it's primordial to be talking religion, to be talking identity, to be doing that. They have played on the intelligence and the sensibility of Nigerians enough. So I'm sorry if I'm a bit emotional.
No apology required whatsoever. Now, you mentioned the electoral value of Christians that has really been dismissed, in your view, by this choice of a Muslim ticket. So let's talk about the electoral value of Christians. First, I want you to just answer a hypothetical scenario. Can you imagine in Nigeria a Christian ticket? I don't think any of us can. But why can we not have a Christian ticket? Let's talk about the issues underlining that and the constant message that's constantly been reinforced that Christians have less electoral value. And I also want you to address how Christians should use the electoral value this time around, because we're told that it's a close to 50-50 split in Nigeria between Muslims and Christians. That's a huge chunk of the population that's been dismissed in this way.
That's correct. Thank you so much, Tundu. this is the real issue. Number one, it is not just that they are lessening and trying to reduce discontenance, the value of Christian voters. They are actually trampling it. They're trampling it. And when it comes really, I'm not a politician, but you don't have to be a hunter in my place before you recognize the footprint of animals. When it comes to politics, you don't act like some people don't matter, and so on. Now, you ask the question, can you imagine a scenario, hypothetically, of a Christian ticket in a ruling party? I can tell you, many places will be burning by now. Blood will be flowing. Because there are extremists on the other side of the divide of religion that are not tolerant at all. They have been impoverished. Poverty has been weaponized, and those people also have been turned to weapons. So they will just tell them, can you imagine? They are saying that both president and vice president of the next election, in fact, they have decided a Christian will be president, a Christian will be vice president. Before you know it, they will start burning and start killing. That is, I lived in the north for almost 10 years. I know what we suffered. And one of the northerners was addressing issues about Peter Obi recently, about OBJ. I can't remember his name. And he was saying they have slapped them on the right, they have slapped them on the left, they have no other cheek to turn, because Jesus said turn the other cheek. And he was saying the northerners are most tolerant. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I can tell you, if there was an attempt by a ruling party to flout a Christian ticket, everywhere will have gone ablaze. That is the truth. But the point is that when you now talk of the value of Christ, what I don't agree with is some of my clergy, some of my church leaders, have maybe out of frustration. Some are saying, Christians, wait your vote. If anyone come with Muslim ticket, don't vote for them. And this and that. We can't waste our vote. It's the only bullet we have to defend ourselves. This is the time for us to now deploy our vote and let them know that they have made a terrible mistake. We should make them pay heavily tuition fee, so that they will know that though they call themselves experts, they call themselves the wisest and the most strategic. The Bible says in Job chapter 5 verse 12 that God frustrates the counsel of the crafty, and their hand will not perform their enterprise. And we Christians, it's not just praying alone. We have been praying every night now for 70 days. And we're continuing till after the election. We mobilize hundreds of people by webinar, Nigerian diaspora, non-Nigeria. We are praying, but let's use our vote to show them the value of our community as Christians. Because even when you capture slaves and you are torturing them, and you put them in chair, put your leg on their neck, you can't tell them not to cry. So I'm advising Christians, don't let's waste our vote. Let's deploy our vote strategically. But also, it's not a matter of ethnicity. My issue with my friend that are on the obedient side is that I don't want you to make me feel the reason you are promoting is because somebody is from your ethnic background and whatever. I don't play ethnic religion. I don't play. I voted for Yaradua. I voted for Muslim in the past. We voted for Fasola. We voted for Asiwaju himself, and so on. So it is what they have done that is doing. But the truth of the matter is that they are making a terrible mistake, and we are determined. See, some of us, even if they win, we will keep putting fire under their feet. And by the way, Kasim Shettima has a lot of baggage. They can be denied now. There are leaked audio conversations he had with Amosun. They may deny it. It's been in circulation. I kept it since it was released. Maybe after 2019 election. It wasn't denied there. Go and listen to the thing he said there. Against the Southeast, against Christian. We know his antecedent, even as governor of Borno. And if any Christian leader we suddenly now begin to support Muslim ticket, we will suspect that we have been bought. Because the reason they are treating us like this is because some of the people, the Christian leaders that represented us, have allowed greed to drive them. They have shown that they are cash and carry. They have a price. This time, we will be on the watch. Any Christian that because of they put something in your mouth you can't talk, or you pretend you don't know what is happening, and you now start patronizing what is not patronized, we will now know that you don't have the Spirit of God. So let's use our vote to show them our value.
Okay.
So I don't know if they can still correct it.
Okay, sir. So the decision has been made by the ruling party. There are many other parties, Nigerians still hold the ace in the end of all of this because they have the right to vote. But for the sake of study and education, I want to interrogate the empirical numbers behind the Northern Christian vote. Is it a viable number? Or is it that there is more dominance on the other side? Let's interrogate that, because in our analysis, we have to also be empirical. So let's interrogate the Northern Christian vote. What number is, what's the electability of the Northern Christian vote? Well, what is it like? Let's talk about it.
Thank you. I know you guys are trying to make me less emotional and to address this dispassionately. So let me tell myself to calm down. Okay, so the issue you have raised, this is rooted in the fact that there have been an assumption, which is an illusion. It's a fallacy, it's a delusion, that Christians are minority in the north. I started my mission work in Katsina, which is less than 2 hours to Daura, President Muhammad Buhari hometown. I used to go do Sema where his advanced motorcade was attacked. All of those places, those are the places we did practical mission work. All of the Jibia and so on, even to Maradi outside Nigeria. So, and if you tour the north, the first thing they have done to us is to make Southerners think that everybody in the north is Hausa. Now they started calling it Hausa Fulani. There is nothing called Hausa Fulani. And then they now make you think, in fact, there are people in the south that buy the lies that everybody in the north is a Muslim. So you hear names like Yakubu, you think it's Islamic. You hear, but there are people even bearing Islamic name that are not Muslim. So the first thing is that the whole analysis is based on a false premise. And there have always been inflation of figures from pre-independence, post-independence. Population have always been manipulated. Because also the culture that says you can't enter a married man's house in the north and be counting his wife and children. So when people come to count in censor, somebody will just come out and tell you, if he says you have 12 wives, you have 70 children, you have no right to go and verify. So whatever list he gives you. Figures have always been inflated. And the whole calculation is based on that false promise, false premise. So if we really interrogate that and subject it to forensic analysis, things will fall apart. Okay? But politicians, remember, they thrive on controversy, they thrive on manipulation, they thrive on deception. And there are another intelligent elite that know what we are saying. But it pays them to keep doing these things and impoverish those northerners, even the young children, the youth that don't go to school, they keep them like that. And of course, they have to keep producing them, make them almajiri. Everything that Jonathan did to try to bring some innovation to promote the human development dimension of almajiri have been truncated and frustrated. So they do all of that, and you are producing all of that. Then you now come out, the north, they have the chunk. Go and check the divide. So when it comes to politics, from Kogi where I come,
so Pastor Sir, so what?
From Kogi to Kwara, everybody is northerner.
So what's the, that's why I'm asking this question
it's
specifically.
Not true.
So what's the empirical fact, to back up this, your argument that there is a mass Christian vote in the north? I mean, you said forensic fact. I just want the fact. I just want the evidence. Because the other side argues that, this is, we churn out the votes. And when they make the argument with you, they say, okay, states like Kano, definitely majority Muslim, will give you a sizable number of votes, well over 1 million votes. States like Katsina will give you a sizable number of votes. States like Kaduna will give you a sizable number of votes.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, it's all majority Muslim. So that's the argue we've had over the years. And that's why I'm saying, what's your own empirical fact, on ground? As a Christian leader, you say you stay in the North for over 10 years, you led revivals. Are there numbers? Okay, can I even start and say, okay, how many million Christians are even there in the North of voting population in the first place? It's just for general education.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rufai. I left the North, Katsina, Kano, 1990. That was when I came to Lagos. So I'm not a statistician. I don't have the statistics. And my Christian faith does not permit me to inflate just for argument's sake. So I can't give figures in exactitude. The point is this. I talk Kano State. I talk Katsina, Malufasi, Funtua, all of those places, and different part of the North. And I discover there are Christian communities. Before I went, I used to assume everybody is a Muslim. But I'm saying to you that the real figure have never been allowed to see the light of day. Pre-independence, post-independence, every censor. If now it has become more difficult to even do a proper census and know our real population. We just wake up one day and say, we're now 200. I can tell you by next year, people will start saying, we're 250 million. We are now this. Nobody really have those details, okay? So I can't give you the exact numbers. But what is now important, another point to note, and I'm not shying away from your question, another point to note is that there have always been underage voters. Go and check the last 3 or 4 elections in Kano and see the people that queue up, apart from inflating vote and all of that. In Borno, under Kasim Setima, when almost many local governments have been taken over by Boko Haram and nobody could move, and the charity worker and volunteers and Red Cross people were kidnapped and being killed, they deliver almost 100% vote. Millions of votes were turned out. So the thing they say about the number they turn out in election, even the population and all of that, they are all assumption, they are all manipulation. I'm not arguing the fact that they are not more in number. There are more Muslims in the North than Christian. But we don't really know the exact ratio. Just as there are more Christians in the South than there are Muslims. But you can also say the Christian population in the South don't matter. I grew up in a town in Kogi State where it was 50-50 in the town. And nobody tried to manipulate the figure. But these politicians, so Rufai, maybe we now need to make this one of the major issues. When we now have a responsible leader, when we have responsible government, we may now be able to do our population count properly. There is no documentation. You get what I'm saying? We're just operating flying blindly. There's nothing. We can't get the fact. That's why they can play the game they are playing.
Well, Pastor, from what you have said, your position is clear. The position of the Christian Association of Nigeria is also clear. Are we likely to see a situation whereby the leadership of the church in Nigeria will direct its members in the same manner in which many churches directed the congregation to go get the PVC? Then are we likely to have church leaders in Nigeria directing the congregation not to vote APC? Or we are likely to see a situation whereby the Christian Association of Nigeria will have audience with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu if he didn't consult previously, if he reaches out to the Christian community to say, look, you have nothing to fear. If I win this election, after all, the campaign is not going to exclude Christians. So what's likely to happen? Or the church will just take it in its stride?
Thank you, Dr. Ruben. That raises another fundamental question. When Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said he was consulting, and I even heard some of the APC stalwart arguing that he consulted both within the party and outside the party. That because I think you brought one professor yesterday, because you need votes. Question I'm asking is that, were Christian leaders, the Christian Association of Nigeria, National ESCO, and other groups, do you know that for the first time, the Catholic Bishop Conference also have taken a position on the basis of fairness and justice, that they will not have this, they won't support this? Were they consulted? The ESCO, the National ESCO of CAN, PFN, and so on? Or are we treated like we don't need to be consulted? Or because there are some few big men that they talk with in secret and they tell them, don't worry. Now, I have no record. There is nobody, whether from CAN or from PFN, that have told me, and I dare say, it's a privilege that you brought me up to come and speak on behalf of Christians. It's not by merit, it's just the mercy of God. So I'm the least among Christian leaders. But if they have consulted CAN leadership and PFN leadership, somehow, I'm significant enough in Nigerian Christianity to know there is no record there have been any such consultation. So even if consultations start now, it's medicine after death. So to get to your question, it's not whether Christian Association or PFN will mobilize their members or we Christian leaders to vote against APC and this ticket. We are already doing it. We're going to do it more. And I'm saying to you, some of us, we don't care if they have the rigging machinery, if they think they have captured everything, because how independent is INEC anyway? Okay, we have succeeded in mobilizing and causing a revolution for voter registration, get your PVC. But you get there now, they will say the people that got those PVC in the rush, we can't find them on the something. The card reader is not reading and all of that. So they know what they do. They know that they don't allow a vote to count. That's why they are confident to do this. But we have decided this time, we will make rigging difficult for them. I was one of the electoral monitors in the last 2019 election. I was in the situational room. And we're mobilizing more. My organization, Catalyst for Peace and Justice, we're going to be in the front line. Custodian of National Conscience, PFN, ESCO, CAN ESCO, I trust the Catholic Bishop Conference. We will mobilize. We want them to pay a high tuition fee. Whether they win or lose, they will learn that you don't trample people because they are tolerant. You don't trample people because you think you have bought some few people that can compromise. We are going to teach them a lesson. So we are telling Christians, yes, keep praying. Let's cry to God that these people, instead of alleviating our pain and the blood that has been flowing, and many of our people that are in captivity, instead of alleviating it, they're exalting themselves, they're brandishing themselves, and gaslighting us. Gaslighting us. We want to teach them, like, we're already mobilizing, Dr. Ruben, to get to your question. We will mobilize, we will do everything within our power. Some of us, even if we die in the process, it's worth it. The reason we're enjoying democracy now, is it not because the great MKO gave his life for it? And I'm glad every time they're talking and making reference, every time I see Tundu, I say, this man is a great man. If he had just stayed in business enjoying his money, the things happening now. So if some of us die in the process, let it be. I don't seek for political office in CAN or PFN. But the reason I fought for victory, when under Ahmed Tinubu, they wanted to demolish that church, I said, even if it's Celestial Church of Christ, because the name of Christ is there, I will fight it. If you kill me in the process, Jesus will say, welcome, well done. So we are mobilizing, we'll mobilize, except they engage us and convince us otherwise. Not on TV. And not showing some arrogance because you feel you are invincible. You don't lose any battle. You don't lose any election. The article I wrote before Governor Tinubu was going for second term is the battle Tinubu cannot win. I said, don't think because you have won all the controversial battle and the scandal battle in your process of politics, you now think that you can take on church, you can take on anybody, and you are invincible. Don't allow the virus of Nebuchadnezzar that drove him to the wilderness for 7 years to go and learn that the Most High is one that rules in the affairs of men. and give it to whomsoever I will. But sometimes, that's the pain. I want you to read Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. He said sometimes God sets on the affairs of men the lowest, the basest of men. It's not always the best and the brightest. But we're going to teach them lesson. We're going to teach them lesson.
On that note, we'd like to thank you very much, Pastor AYEDOGBON, for joining us this morning on The Morning Show. Thank you very much indeed.